So I've been feeling distracted, disoriented, a little low, and maybe even a bit burnt out. And I want to share how I plan on turning that around and trying to combat it by talking about the power of selective attention. And selective attention might sound a lot like manifestations and affirmations, but the concept of mind training was initially introduced to me when I was studying psychology in university. So that is the approach that I'm going to take in this video. In the beginning of this channel, I felt that I was a bit more head-on, full of motivation, and had clear vision of my goals until this curveball was thrown at me and it just consumed my entire headspace. And I even noticed that I was putting in more work and time and energy into my responsibilities than I was into myself, which was the whole reason for this alone time, was to work on myself, be better. So we're going to try to do some mental training, mental reprogramming in order to get myself back on track. The mind is a very powerful thing, and attention is a default setting in our mind, and it is usually triggered by our senses. So when we see something, perhaps it's the color red, it usually catches our attention. When we smell something delicious, like a cookie, we usually turn our head and we want to know where it's coming from, we want to know what it is, we want to have a taste of it. And the same thing when you smell something familiar from the past, it usually brings a rush of old memories. And so the mind can do so many things. And in that logic, your reality is made up of whatever it is that you're paying attention to. So if you have the power to control where your attention goes to, then you also have the power to control your emotions and behavior, because our thoughts make up our emotions. They are usually the first thing that trigger what kind of emotion we're feeling, and it translates to how we behave outside. But the biggest obstacle is each one of us has this default programmed, internalized belief system that we've had for a really long time, ever since we were babies. And this is something that was built in by the people around us, the adults around us, our childhood experiences. So it's not easy to get rid of it. It's heavily built into our brains, and it influences the way that we think, the way that we make decisions in our life. But I do believe that everybody has the agency to change their circumstances. So I've talked about agency before, and agency is basically the individual ability to choose, select, and to act on something. And it's just a matter of finding the willpower to get in touch with that agency so that you can have the power to change your circumstances. And everything is a perspective, right? The problems that we have, the more you hyperfixate on them, the bigger it's going to feel, and the more consuming it's going to feel. So if you stop worrying and stop hyperfixating on these problems, it's going to feel more controlled. And if you believe that you have the solution coming into any problem that you face in life, it's going to be more manageable, and you're going to have more control over your decision making, your emotions, and that leads to more rational solutions. And like I said, it's not going to be easy to get there, but it all begins when you self-monitor your thoughts. So every time that you think of something negative, something undesirable, what you want to do is to override it completely and immediately, within seconds, with another thought that is positive, something that your dream person would think of, right? If your goal is to become a different version of yourself, then you have to do all of the mental training, self-monitoring your thoughts even, and developing the sense of entitlement to all of these things that you want in life. For example, let's say that you're in a conversation and you're talking about football, right? And then somebody asks you, how did you get into football? Instead of saying, oh, my ex was the one who introduced me to football, you could say that somebody I knew introduced me to football. And that is a really tiny mind trick that you can use to alter the narrative instead of it being a really negative experience, because the word X just kind of feels like, it ended, there's a reason why it ended, it just didn't work out, like it's just negative connotation. So what you want to do is make it as neutral as possible by referring to them as somebody you meet somebody, you spend some time together, and you know that person to the littlest detail, but after that time has ended, they are not the same person that you knew before, so they are a stranger to you. And that is just the truth of it, the reality of it. So if you want to be able to control your emotions and the way that you think, the way that your mood will affect the rest of your day, it all starts with self-monitoring your thoughts. And it's the little details, especially your tone and your choice of words when you're speaking to yourself. What you want to do is choose the kinds of word that will nurture and feed into your confidence. Not necessarily your ego, but your confidence and self-worth. Be very mindful and intentional with the things that you say to yourself, especially the content that you consume outside, the books that you're reading, the videos that you're watching online. Those things play a huge part into the way that you think and the way that you perceive your reality. There are things that we can and cannot control. So this curveball that I'm talking about, I feel that that was a test for me, to see if I've been able to develop self-respect, self-love that I didn't have before. Test is for me to see if I can, stand my ground and not lose all of the progress that I've worked so far for. So if you want to be different and you want to break away from those patterns, then you have to constantly keep overriding those thoughts with new ones and positive ones, the ones that you actually want, not the ones that have been internalized in your brain. So instead of focusing on the things that you can't really control, focus on the way that you react to it and focus on the way that you interpret them in your mind. So if you experience something bad at work, then kind of reshape the meaning of it in your mind and really practice the discipline of knowing what to consume and what to put in your head, than wallowing in emotions. Don't let your emotions get the best of you most of the time. Like I said, this is going to take some time and it's not going to be easy to take hold of your attention. Start by talking to yourself nicely. If it means saying these things that you might not believe at the moment, that I am beautiful, I am confident, I am abundant, I am strong, I am powerful. All those things, even though you might not believe them at the moment, the more that you repeat them to yourself, the more your mind is going to believe that those are the true elements of your identity. You have to start feeling entitled about those things, because you're just going to keep lowering yourself for other people, and it's just, you're never going to get far from what you have been taught from the very beginning. Instead of focusing your attention on drama and all of these unnecessary thoughts of what are they doing, why aren't they texting me, or how come I didn't say this when I was in the meeting with them, it's all unnecessary thoughts that you shouldn't ruminate or wallow, because you can easily reframe them if you just so choose to, right? It's hard to be aware that what you're thinking is not good for you. Sometimes it feels so normal that we just let these thoughts kind of consume our head. But like I said, if you want to make a difference, if you want to change the way that you represent yourself to other people, you have to start by the thoughts that you're thinking in your head. Because they all kind of manifest outwardly. So try to monitor your thoughts, every single one of them. The minute that a negative thought comes to your head, I'm not pretty enough, I don't have the money for this, I'm not confident, blah blah, all of those things, you have to completely override them with I am pretty, I am beautiful, they want me, they believe in me, they trust me with this project, all of those things. And that will feed into your confidence level, and that will be perceived outwardly. So don't worry too much about the problems that you're facing right now, these little issues and matter, because like I said, the more you hyperfixate them, the bigger it's going to feel like, and the more you're going to lose control over your emotions. So if it means sitting yourself down and repeating all of these ideal phrases to yourself, all of these positive notes to yourself, then do so. You have to really shower your brain and your mind with these thoughts that you want to replace the negative ones, because no one's going to do it for you. Your mind is already programmed to do it one way. So if you want to change, then you have to be the third person view in your mind that will say, oh, I'm thinking about this, I have to switch it up with another thing. So it's all mental training, like I said. I know that everybody has the agency and the capability to do this. It's just constantly putting yourself in that third person view where you are monitoring your mind. And there's a book about this, actually. I forget what it's called, but it's basically, advocating for that idea that there is a third person view in your mind beyond your consciousness and subconscious. Anyway, I hope that helped. Hopefully this helps some of you kind of pick up the slack and hold yourself accountable, which is what I'm trying to do. Hope that I explained selective attention as good as I understand it, but I'm running out of time. Let me know if this works. Let me know what other mind tricks you guys have that helps you kind of reprogram the way that you think and the way that you perceive certain situations, and how do you stay and maintain confident and just composed whenever you face some setbacks or obstacles, whatever it is in life. Feel free to interact in the comment section. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys again the next time I post. Bye.